Kumusta Houston, Texas? Kumustahin din natin ng lahat ng mga nasa United States of America at ganun din syempre sa Philippines, Canada, Australia, UK o nasan man kayo naroon ngayon. Samahan niyo ako sa isa na namang oras ng Usapang Off the Record. I am your host, 𝗢𝗏𝗧𝗵𝗲. I'm an attorney licensed here in the state of Texas and in the Philippines. I am a managing partner of 𝗢𝗏𝗧𝗵𝗲 law firm that is based here in Houston, Texas. Mapapanood at mapapakinggan nyo kami every Friday at 9 p.m. Central Time and Saturday naman yan sa Philippines, 10 a.m. At we are live streamed via Roof Chamber, Radio Pinoy, Facebook, and YouTube, and then sa aking mismong Eileen Ligot Dizon Facebook page. Kaya like and follow us so you will be notified of our upcoming live shows. Kami rin ay mapapakinggan via Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Overcast, Pocket Cast, and Listen Notes. Kaya good morning, good afternoon, and good evening sa lahat ng ating nanonood dito, audience and listeners ng Usapang After Record. If you have greetings, shout-outs, or comments, just post it in the comment box and we will read it throughout the show. This month, we are celebrating a very important event, a very important occasion. I think it's a status actually. We are celebrating Father's Day this month. To be exact, that'll be June 19, 2022, Sunday, of course. Father's Day is celebrated, of course, annually. Yan, every third Sunday ng June dito sa United States, sa UK din, sa Canada, India, at sa iba pang mga countries around the world. Australia, they celebrate it on a different a date. But still, sineselebrate natin ang Father's Day all over the world. Ayan. Today, we will meet a wonderful couple, friends namin, very dear friends ko sila. Dito sa Houston na kami nagkakilala, pero we all came from the Philippines, 'di ba? It's amazing to find friends in a new place. Tapos nanggaling kami pare-pareho sa isang bansa. At maraming mga ganyang situations dito sa US na hindi kayo magkakilala sa Philippines, pagdating dito nagiging magkakaibigan because nagkakaroon tayo ng opportunity to know each other. At of course, ang ating guests ngayong araw ay sasagutin ang ilang mga katanungan na sa tingin namin ay mahalaga because we have a lot of Filipino nurses here in the US at saka marami ring mga Filipino nurses na nasa Pilipinas pa lang ngayon pero nag-a-apply sila papunta dito sa US. Mahalagang malaman ninyo ang sagot sa mga katanungan katulad ng how to avoid getting entangled with the Texas Board of Nursing kung nandito kayo sa Texas. And anong gagawin ninyo, what to do in case you get into that situation, you know? So, let me introduce our featured guests for today. And you heard me, plural yon, guest, because hindi isa, kundi dalawa ang ating makakasama ngayong araw dito sa Usapang Off the Record. Kaya naman, kilalanin na natin ang ating mga featured guest. Una nating guest ay hindi na siya bago. Nagbabalik na siya for the third time. So third timer na siya dito. Malapit na siyang maging regular co-host ko yata no? Anyways, let me introduce to you our divorce attorney dito sa Texas. At when I introduce her, siguro yung mga hindi nakapanood ng episodes na yon, pinag-usapan naming dalawa ang tungkol sa divorce at child custody. Yan. So, prior sa kanyang practice dito sa Texas, nagtrabaho rin siya sa the Court of Appeals. Actually, pareho kami nagtrabaho doon. I think mukhang nagkasabay pa yata kami. Hindi lang kami nagkakilala doon. But dito na kami nagkakilala. Diba? How wonderful that story. Also, she is, of course, a member of both the Texas Bar and IBP, Integrated Bar of the Philippines. And ang niya, karagdagan doon sa practice niya na family law, she practices nurse licensed defense before the Texas Board of Nursing. Ayan. So, kaya naman makakasama natin ngayon, walang iba kundi si Attorney Maria Cristina Atendido. Hi, Tina.
Hello, good evening. Nice to be
nagbabalik.
back. Yes.
Yes, oh, I am glad na meron kang time. I know may mga plano ka later on, actually bukas, So I'm glad na you have time to join us today dito sa show. And syempre pa makakasama natin ang gusto mo ikaw mag-introduce? Hindi ako na binubira lang kita. Siyempre mas kilalang kilala ni Attorney Tina ang ang ating makakasamang pangatlong guest for today. Ang ating guest, he graduated from University of Houston, Victoria, BS Nursing, and MS Nursing in Nursing Education. So wala namang doubt no na nurse siya, 'di ba? Obviously, 'di ba? Currently, he works at Harris Health as part of their executive nurse team. And siya ay isang awardee, of course. We are very proud of our nurses, Filipino nurses here in the US. Siya ay 2022 awardee of the Outstanding Nurses Award by the District 9 Texas Nurses Association. Kaya let's welcome Herbert Ortiz.
Hi. Good evening, Attorney Eileen.
Good evening, Herbert. Welcome sa Usapang of the Record. Ayan. So I'm
Welcome. Thanks for
glad that
having
you have. Yes, we're very happy. Actually, we're very excited to have a nurse guest kasi mukhang ngayon na ito na yatang simula na magkakaroon ako ng mga guest dito na nurses
me. I hope so. Yes.
Yeah, so
And
you
thank you
want to
for
greet.
having me.
Oh, thank you for having the time, we appreciate your effort and time syempre dito. Gusto kong bumati kayo sa mga kaibigan, kakilala sa Philippines, especially kasi napapanood tayo sa Pilipinas ngayon, Sabado noon ng 10:00 ng umaga. You go ahead, Herbert. Munahin natin si Herbert.
Thank you very much.
Gentleman first.
Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. We're happy to be here. We're glad. Hopefully, we could give you some insights, advice on how you could best protect your license here in Texas or in any other state. So welcome, and we hope you get something from this conversation.
Ayan, thank you. And Attorney Tina?
Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning to everyone, whichever is applicable. Sana nga makapagbigay kami ng information na makakatulong sa mga nanonood.
Yes, maraming salamat at binigyan nyo kami ng time dito sa Usapang Off the Record. Siguro marahil nagtataka yung mga nanonood sa atin ngayon kung bakit dalawa ang guest dito sa Usapang Off the Record. Malalaman yan kapag you stay tuned in, mapakinggan natin ng mga kwento ng ating dalawang amazing guests for tonight. At gusto rin namin sana na mabasa yung mga comments ng ating mga audience and listeners. Kasi nga, like I said, we are live stream right now sa YouTube and Facebook. And later on, yung ating recorded show ay mapapakinggan din sa Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Pocket Casts, and Listen Notes. Yan. So, whatever app you want to download and use kasi alam mo marami tayong mga tagapakinig na very busy talaga sila, so most of them ay nakikinig doon sa mga podcast nila. So anyway, sa simulan na natin ang tanong. Okay, so I know si Attorney Tina dahil naging guest na natin siya noon, that we talk about her immigration story. Ngayon naman gusto mo pala muna, Attorney Tina, na refresh lang natin. Baka kasi meron tayong mga bagong audience na hindi nga nakapanood last time ng 2 episodes na yon. Baka mamaya babalikan na nila. Ano kayong episode na sinasabi ni Attorney Eileen? So, Attorney Tina, taga saan ka ba sa atin sa Philippines?
Ako ay taga Quezon talaga ako, sa Infanta Quezon.
Mhm.
Pinanganak ako sa Marinduque. Nag-college ako sa Manila, tapos doon din ako nagtrabaho.
Yes.
So sa Luzon ako, Luzon.
Luzon. So Tagalog lang ang
Tagalog lang.
Tagalog. Wala kang other dialects kasi alam mo daming dialects sa Philippines no?
Oo.
Although Tagalog, I think, is a universal pa rin hanggang ngayon, pero marami pa rin tayong mga dialects doon. Eh, si Herbert, at saan naman ang province mo, Herbert, sa Philippines?
Both of yung parents ko pareho from Pangasinan. Yung father ko was from Ordaneta. Yung mother ko was from San Carlos City, Pangasinan. Although I was born sa Mindanao, sa Sultan Kudarat, Tacorong,
Mm.
Sultan Kudarat. Tapos nung nag-high school ako sa Manila, and then nag-aral ako nag-college ako sa Los Baños.
Doon siya
UP.
nag-elementary.
UP Los Baños.
UP Los Baños, yes. Nag-college.
Ayan. So, pare-pareho tayo ng alma mater. 'Di ba? Si Attorney Tina, UP din, UP Diliman, and then si Herbert, UP Los Baños. Ako naman Baguio, UP Baguio. So, proud UPians tayo.
Ah,
Pero, kapitbahay pala namin yung parents mo, Herbert, kasi sa Pangasinan kami. Pangasinan din
Yeah.
ang father ko. Ang Ordaneta ay kapitbahay ng Pozorobio.
Sarap.
Yeah. So, ano yan, hindi ko 15 minutes yata or 20 minutes away ang Ordaneta. So, pag I remember kapag namimili kami, pumupunta kami sa Ordaneta madalas. Kasi malapit lang yun eh. Yan. So, but you were born sa Mindanao. So, meron ka bang ibang dialect other than Tagalog?
Yeah, well, marunong ako Ilocano kasi yung father ko kasi Ilocano. Dati marunong ako mag-Ilonggo kasi lumaki ako sa Tacorong eh. Pero nakakaintindi pa rin ako. Konti-konti. Pangasinan
Konti-konti.
nakakaintindi rin. Yeah, but
Hindi pala natin 'to mabebenta sa Pangasinan at saka sa
nag-Ilocano sila.
Ilocano din. Hindi kasi doon sa Ordaneta, malapit na kasi yun sa La Union. So parang kami din malapit. So yung namin lang, yung dialects namin doon halo din. So I know Pangasinense at saka ang Ilocano din. So hindi niyo rin kami mabebenta. 'Di ba? So
Walang
ikaw lang pwede namin ibenta doon, Tina. So, ngayon marahil nagtataka na sila, bakit kaya dalawa pa rin sila? So, tanungin na natin, unahin muna natin si Herbert. Herbert, what is your immigration story? Alam mo, napakaraming mga nurses na nag-i-inquire how can they come here and work. May mga nurses, Filipino nurses na nanggagaling sa Saudi Arabia or Qatar yan na area or Dubai ganyan, and then they come here in the US para magtrabaho o kaya naman talagang galing talaga sa Philippines. So I'm pretty sure they're very much interested to hear the story kung ano man ang yung immigration story.
actually, yung father ko was the first one to come here. I migrated dito. Petition ako ng father ko in 1994 when I was 20 years old. Nag-migrate ako sa California. Although dito na ako nag-aral ng nursing, but I have lots of other family members as well that came from, meron akong pamangkin that came from the Philippines too. Started working here as a nurse. I belong to a family of nurses. Marami akong mga nurse. So yes, halos marami sa amin mga nasa healthcare field.
Healthcare, oh. Alam mo, naalala ko yan when I was in the Philippines, nag-aaral pa lang ako. Ang kadalasan na sinasabi sa amin mag-nursing kami. Kasi yun daw yung the only way, sabi nila sa amin. Or maybe not the only way, pero the easiest way or best way to migrate here is when you're a nurse. So naalala ko din noon when I was in law school, meron akong classmate na sa law school na di ba kasi bago ka makapunta sa law school, meron kang undergraduate So meron ang undergraduate is nursing. Pero nagtumuloy siya sa law school. Pero after ng law school, hindi na nga siya nag-bar exam. Baka nanonood siya ngayon. Doon siya nag-bar exam. Tapos pumunta na siya dito. And until now, she's still working as a nurse sa New York. And she has a very happy life. Traveling, I think she's a traveling nurse. So I don't know about traveling, but the traveling nurses, but I know that they're traveling. They're going from state to state. So ikaw ba talagang Herbert, talagang wala ka ng ibang inisip na maging career before other than as a nurse or nursing?
Um, Not necessarily. No, ano rin ako, nursing is my second career. I started, I started in computers, but I found out di ko talaga linya din eh. So I found out through the encouragement of my family, yung sister ko was able to encourage me to go into nursing, which I found out I ended up liking, and actually becoming rather yes, okay na rin. I enjoy being a nurse.
Oh, that's good. Ikaw ba yung tipong yung parang, I just don't want to be the same as everybody else in the family. That's why you went to another
Hindi naman.
Hindi.
I don't believe so. I don't believe so. I think it was more, you have to find out for yourself, right? Kung ano yung niche mo. And I think I found something that I actually like. Yes.
Yeah, sa bagay hindi naman talaga natin alam pa talaga kung ano talaga yung magiging future natin. Parang ako, my undergraduate was BS Biology kasi nga gusto nilang maging doctor ako. Pero 'di ba, hindi din naman ako naging doctor. So, ikaw ba si Tina yata talaga 'to eh, as a lawyer. Tama
Oo.
ba ako? Talagang
Yun
talagang
talaga daw.
straight siya ang kanyang na she has decided even before.
Since high school.
Oh yeah, well that's good. And then you're here and you're practicing you're in a profession that you really decide you really love. So ngayon, tanungin na natin yung $1,000,000 question. Bakit dalawa kayong nandito? Well, siguro ang tatanong ko na lang is, what is your love story? Ayan. Ni-reveal ko na ha.
Mhm.
So, Tina and Herbert, they're a couple. They're
Mag-asawa po kami.
mag-asawa, husband. Oo, opo. Ayan. So, ito, minsan, pag ang mag-asawa ang tinanong mo ng, what is your love story? Minsan, magkaibang storya. Oo nga. So, tingnan natin kung meron ka pagkakaibang story ninyo, ha? Alright, so, sinong gusto mo una magkwento? Ladies first?
Yeah.
Okay, Tina.
Love story namin. Mga internet kami eh. Yan.
Ano yun?
Nag-start kami sa internet.
Okay.
Tapos
So-
lagi kami nag-chat, tapos email. Which is, I guess, yun yung tingin ko mas magiging close ka kasi dahil parang you're baring your soul to someone by writing and usually email and chat. Yun. Yung yung hindi dada. Phone.
May
phone
Facebook
calls
na ba
din.
noon?
Ha?
May Facebook na ba noon?
May Facebook. Ay, Friendster nga yung start
Friendster pa noon. Okay.
Friendster.
Oo. Ayun din, naalala ko talaga may Friendster noon, di ba? Bago ang Facebook, Friendster eh.
Yeah.
Oo.
So, nagkakilala kayo sa
Oo, tama. Hindi pa nga
Friendster.
Facebook yun.
Oo.
It's a website. Tapos, doon kami nagkakilala sa website na yun.
Mhm.
Tapos, nag-email kami. Tapos, Messenger. Yahoo Messenger.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So at that time nandito na si si
Oo,
Herbert
andito na
kasi
siya.
malayo magkalayo kayo.
Oo.
That is why you communicated through sa internet.
Oo, long distance ito. Long distance love.
So kaya naman yung mga long distance relationship ngayon at saka yung mga because of the pandemic ang dami kasi nagkakilala online, So my future siguro yun naman sasabi ko. Kung talagang authentic and real yung relationship, talagang it will happen. Kaya nakaka-inspire naman din talaga kasi syempre yung iba hindi nila alam mangyayari pag nagkita sila in person. So, nung nakita kayo in person, sa Philippines na yon,
Oo, sa Philippines na.
Oo.
Okay naman. Parang ganun din. Kung ano yung sa chat, kasi nga magkakilala na, mas lalo kaming, parang mas malalim yung pagkakakilala namin bago pa kami nagkita. Mas malalim na yung pagkakilala namin dahil sa chat, sa email.
Siyempre, araw-araw kayo nag-uusap.
Araw-araw
diba?
na phone calls. Yun.
Naku, magastos
Hindi
yun noon, di ba?
agree.
Parang hindi ka naku ha. Baka may gustong idagdag si Herbert.
No, I agree. I think the opportunity na yung, kasi di ba, pag magkalayo kayo, you get to, to spend time just talking, really getting to know each other. By the time that you actually meet, parang, you know each other quite well.
Yeah, so
And we've,
parang talagang
yeah,
yan.
that was 14 years ago, just about, right?
Yeah.
We've been married,
2000.
we've been married,
Sigurado ka?
we've been married for the last 10 years. So, it's
Yeah.
been,
Ah,
that's
a
been,
decade na pala kayo, ano?
Oo.
Yes. And you have children, 'di ba? You
Yes.
have two
yeah.
beautiful children. Yes. Nanonood ba sila ngayon? Alam ba nilang nangyayari ngayon?
Natulog na namin.
Tulog na sila? Ganun ba? Speaking of children, kasi siyempre Father's Day month ngayon, eh, 'no? Siyempre hindi ko naman tatanungin sa inyo kung, how you wanna celebrate it. Siguro naman medyo personal na yun. So ang gusto ko na naitanong, what Filipino culture do you practice at home? With your family, with your kids? Ayan, siguro si Herbert tanungin natin una.
So sa amin yan lang, getting together. And katulad yan, Father's Day, I would expect we would probably have a good family dinner with the rest of some of the other family members. Uh, an opportunity to, magsama-sama. Lalo na before the pandemic, parang, during the whole pandemic, hindi kayo masyado magkikita. But, um, you know, now that we're slowly, getting back to normal, like dinner together, I think that's very important for us, as a family.
Yeah, so every day, magkakasama sa dinner, 'di ba? I think that is a very
We
Filipino,
try.
Yes.
yes. Of course we try. Kami din, actually that's what we try to do. Kung hindi ka nag-o-overtime sa work, 'di ba? Aabot ka sa dinner. Pero 'yun talaga yung kasi siyempre maghapon na kayong hindi nagkikita because of work. So at least man lang sa magkita-kita kayo sa dinner table, 'di ba? Ayan.
Yes.
So, very we adopted that Filipino culture din dito sa US. Hindi naman medyo challenging syempre dahil because of the time and the work yan, but we find time, we try. That is what is important. Ayan. So anyways, marami pa akong gustong itanong sa inyo pero tatanong ko na lang off cam. Kasi I really want to jump into our topic for
Topic.
today. Oo, kasi alam ko na maraming gusto ring malaman kung ano mga sagot dun sa mga katanungan natin. So ngayon, si Herbert ay siya yung nagpa-practice ng as a nurse, 'di ba? And then si Tina naman, attorney Tina, siya naman yung nagpa-practice on the legal part naman na tumutulong sa mga sa ating mga nurses na may mga nagiging problema. Okay? So ang tanong ko siguro, unang-una kong tanong is ano nga ba yung mga madalas na nagiging issue o problema o errors ng mga nurses natin kung bakit sila in trouble? So una na siguro tanong muna natin to kay Herbert. Yan.
So, ang kasi naglabas ng Texas Board of Nursing ng kanilang finding. They did a long study, about 4-year study, looking at some of the errors na nakikita nila sa mga peer review cases na nadadala sa kanila. There are two primary area of nursing na kung saan nagkakaroon ng problema yung mga nurses. Number one is documentation errors. Really, that accounts for about 37% of errors that they've seen. And so maraming mga iba't ibang klaseng documentation errors. No? Number one is incomplete or inaccurate charting. So mali yung nilalagay nila sa mga charts nila, mali yung assessment na naipasok nila, hindi nila nailagay yung tamang intervention. Pangalawa dyan, yung late documentation. So maaring hindi nila nailagay yung interventions na nagawa nila kaagad sa pasyente, hindi nila na ipapasok kaagad sa record, sa patient's chart. There's isa pang reason ng documentation error ng mga nurses. Minsan nagpe-pre-chart sila, no? Kasi, when you're so busy, you have a lot of things you need to do. minsan may temptation to cut corners, right? So there's
Mhm.
this
What is
temptation to
pre-chart?
save time.
What
Uh,
is pre-charting?
but
So,
it's wrong.
what is pre-charting? Baka,
Siguro
Oh,
explain natin,
yung
explain natin ano yung
pre-charting,
pre-charting,
yung
yes.
pre-charting, kunyari, na-anticipate mo na gagawin ko to. Let's say, gagawin mo tong intervention na to. Paliliguan ko yung pasyente. For example, at 10 o'clock. Pero 9:30 pa lang, medyo hindi ka pa busy, so you're preparing everything. I-document mo na, for example, that you did it. However, kunyari, pagdating ng 10 o'clock, na-document mo na, right, that you did the bath. However, 10 o'clock comes and then busy ka bigla, right? Something else happens sa ibang pasyente mo that now
Oo.
you have to attend to. Pag hindi mo na correct yung charting mo na yun, error na yun, right? That's an error. That's
Mhm.
pre-charting. You documented something you
Hindi
intend to
na
do,
accurate,
pa
yes.
nagagawa. So that's one tenet in nursing, in fact. You never document before doing something. So
Mhm.
yan yung primary reason, no? Medication error. Documentation error. The second most common error, which accounts for about 36.5% of all errors according to the board,
Mhm.
is medication error. Yun yun talaga. And I think between the two, I think, medication error tends to be more, medyo graver yung mga errors dito, ano? Kasi it could result
Mhm.
in really significant patient harm. Dito, ang nakita ng board talaga, ang primary reason bakit nagkakaroon ng medication error ang mga nurses is they're not giving the medication as ordered by a physician or their providers. So we're talking about, for example, my specific order, right? You have to give it at a certain amount, a certain time. You may
Yes.
have to give a certain dose. You may have to give it a certain, a certain route. Maybe dapat bigay mo siya orally pero naibigay mo in a different route, or you
Oo.
give the wrong dose. You may give a smaller dose or a higher dose. So yun yung really those two contribute for most of the errors na nakikita natin. And more than likely, kung merong error ang nurses, it will more than likely be those two. Yeah,
I
documentation
see.
error and medication error.
So yeah, documentation error, especially yung yung mga nag-pre, sabi mo nga pre-charting, tsaka yung medication errors. Meron akong a little bit experience about documentation error kasi I had a chance to work sa home health when I was in Dallas. So nasa QA department ako. So binabasa namin yung mga yung mga notes ng mga nurses yan, and it's very important talaga na tama yung documentation and accurate yan kasi ino-audit yan
That's
pagka na-audit ang hindi lang sa mga hospitals, yung mga home health din, ino-audit yan. Pag na-audit yan at nakita na inaccurate or may mali, so nagkakaroon ng mas malalimang investigation. Ayan. So medication error din, yung iba yung nabigay mo. Siguro, ang naalala ko dito sa medication error ay yung kaso ni Redonda,
yes.
Do you wanna tell us a little bit about that case, Attorney Tina?
ito sa Tennessee siya nangyari, hindi
Yes.
naman dito sa Texas. So si Redonda Vaught, she committed a medication error that's that resulted in a really grave consequence kasi namatay yung tao.
Yes.
Kasi ang kailangan niya ibigay isang klase ng gamot, nabigay niya paralyzing
Medication, oo.
medication. Tas hindi niya na-correct, namatay yung patient na 75 years old.
Mhm.
So, medication error, kung dito yan sa Texas, talagang
Ipo-prosecute talaga yan na matindi.
oo.
Oo.
Dun sa Tennessee actually, ang nangyari pala dun sa case na yon, tinago ng ospital. Pero lumabas din. So,
Oh, siyempre.
medication error talaga. Na-charge pa siya criminally.
Mhm. So katulad nga ng sinasabi ni Herbert na mas grave yung magiging consequence or kapag ang error ay medication. Kasi nga katulad yan ang nangyari sa kanya, yung patient passed away, right?
Oo.
Oo, because of that simple but grave
Oo.
mistake. Oo, 'di ba? Yes. So anyways, napakahalaga talaga na malaman ng mga nag-a-apply na mga nurses dito na talagang dino-document lahat dito, and pinakaimportante talaga is accurate ka sa lahat, and then you follow yung medication na, at saka yung time,
Oo.
right dosage, yan, ganyan. So, siguro ang next question ko is ah, ah, what are the factors that ano yung mga bagay na nagli-lead into this kind of errors? Kasi nabanggit na ni Herbert kanina a little bit about it, yung mga pre-charting, nagmamadali, or gusto mong maging ahead of time. Ano pa kaya yung mga other factors na dahilan kung bakit ang mga nurses ay nagkakaroon ng mga ganitong klaseng error? Pero bago natin sagutin 'yan, ay basahin muna natin ang ating first dito na bumabati from Australia, si Delia Ligot, my mom. Sabi niya, hello, watching from Australia. Anong oras na ba sa Australia ngayon? I think mga 12:30 yata eh. Yan. So, thank you for watching, Nay. Yan. So, anyways, bago natin sagutin, siguro I will have a short break. And we'll come back and sasagutin natin yung ating yung tinanong natin about the factors. And so, stick around.
Hello to everyone from Roof Chamber Radio. I'm encouraging all of you to stay here, stay in this chamber. If you want to be inspired, you want to be encouraged, this is where it's at. And we're all going to need this, especially, in this new year that we're in. We don't know what's up for tomorrow. We don't know what's going to happen next week or next month. But I believe that when you gather with people who believe in the power, the faithfulness, and the goodness of the Lord Jesus Christ, there is power in that in itself. So stay here. Stay in the Roof Chamber Radio. Be inspired, be encouraged, and let's all go through life not on our own, and more than just with each other, but let's speak the faith, let's share the faith, let's live by faith, and let's walk by faith. God bless you all, everyone from Roof Chamber Radio.
And we're back. At syempre pa, kasama pa rin natin si Attorney Tina and si Herbert dito sa Usapang Off the Record. At meron nga tayong iniwang katanungan bago tayo nag-break kanina, no? What do you think are the factors why the nurses, these nurses commit these kinds of errors?
So, they did some study looking into yung taxonomy ng errors of nurses. So, kung ano yung mga reason why we're nagkakaroon ng errors. No? They found out there were several factors that they were looking at. One of the primary reasons is clinical reason. So, nakikita nila na sometimes mali yung understanding maybe ng nurse dun sa condition ng pasyente. Either they were not able to really prioritize what should be yung immediate action that they should take. So in that end, that's how they that's how they they commit the error. No? Kasi mali yung they have the wrong clinical reason. Another contributing factor, according to some studies or in the board study, is that yung professional responsibility nila, so, sometimes maybe the nurse doesn't understand what the expectation is from them. Ano ba yung kailangan nilang gawin when a situation arises? And so in those, pag nangyari yon, if you don't, and clinically hindi mo naiintindihan yung nangyayari, and then hindi mo pa naiintindihan kung ano yung expectation from you, that's the professional reasoning. Then or professional expectation, then that's when those types of errors occur. So it's really important that you have to be knowledgeable and understand what the expectations are of you as a nurse.
I see. Napaka-importante naman talaga na alam mo yung professional responsibilities at saka expectations, even kahit hindi sa mga nurses, I think sa lahat ng mga professions eh. Because that way, alam mo yung gagawin mo, alam mo yung limitations mo, yan, sa trabaho. So, yes, anything you wanna add, Attorney Tina?
Ayun, yung tungkol sa mga errors na yan, ikukwento ko lang yung mga experience ko sa mga cases.
Yes.
So, yung iba, I think, akala nila, kunwari, naiwan yung stethoscope, mga ganyan.
Naiwan saan?
Or sa
Malaki yun.
sa kotse niya, hindi,
Okay.
wala
Naku,
siyang
iba
stethoscope
naman
na.
naisip ko, saan naiwan?
Hindi. Pag
Okay.
surgery, no?
Oo.
Hindi naman. So, wala siyang stethoscope, yung mga ganyan.
So, pumunta
o
siya
kaya-
na naiwanan niya yung stethoscope niya. Saan gagamitin
Oo,
niya?
so,
Gano'n?
di ba? Yung mga ganon. Although, I guess, yung hospital naman, meron namang mga disposable.
Yes.
Tapos, pero yung mga maliliit na bagay na ganyan, o kaya ibibigay mo yung medication sa ibang tao para siya yung magbigay, pero dapat ikaw yung
Parang inutos mo sa
obligasyon mo
iba.
yun. Oo. So, I think yung mga ganong bagay, kailangan nilang malaman na nagde-deviate ka na dun sa obligation mo.
May tanong ko doon
responsibility.
sa doon sa sinabi mong dapat siya magbigay medication tapos pinabigay niya sa iba. Are we talking about nurse then or not
Nurse din.
necessarily?
Well,
It depends kasi yung
Yes, go ahead, Herbert.
kasi by the board of nursing, medication administration is the responsibility of a nurse, right? Something that you cannot delegate. So hindi yan delegatable to an unlicensed personnel. For example, hindi mo pwedeng ipabigay yan sa nursing assistant mo, for example. You cannot have another maybe a family member give it to unless mayroong specific order from the provider. Na pwede mong ibigay, pwedeng yung family ang magbigay nitong gamot na to. So, ang expectation kasi ganun eh. Yun eh. Kung alam, if you, dapat alam nila yun. They
Pag
understand
sinabi
their
ba
own
natin,
policy.
liwanagin lang natin yung bigay. Kasi nagre-reflect din ako when I was in the hospital then. So, may medication na, when we say magbigay, are we talking about yung i-administer mo, ganon, dun
Yes.
sa
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
Administration. Right? So we're talking
Yeah.
about administration. You're actually,
Yeah,
So,
kasi 'di ba meron yung bibigay mo sa, let's say sa asawa, 'di ba? O, siya na magbibigay. So is that what you're talking about or ikaw mismo talaga yung magbigay dun sa patient?
So the expectation is the nurse should be the one. Yeah. Siya
course.
talaga yung mag-administer ng medication na
So,
yan. At
pwede mo ba siyang iwan sa pasyente?
Oo, pwede ba
Yung
'yun?
gamot?
So,
Sabihin ng pasyente, "Ako na lang, kasi kukuha pa ako ng buwelo," gano'n.
that's that's hindi advisable practice. Yun yan. Hindi siya advisable practice, right? To do that. Because
Paano kung hindi
so
inumin, 'di
yan,
ba?
parang hindi niya kunin, right? What if,
Yes.
so the
Oo.
practice should be in fact, dapat makita mo mismo.
Oo, yes.
So, kasi,
Before you even document that, nakita mo that they took it.
Yes.
So hindi enough na you
Binigay mo lang.
binigay mo. You will need to either say kung di sila ready, then okay, maybe the best action would be I'll come back when you're ready, let me know, then
kasi pwedeng ang mangyari niyan, hindi iti-take nung patient lahat o hindi ibibigay nung caregiver niya
Ibang
lahat
tao,
ng
yeah.
gamot. Tapos, i-document mo ngayon kung ano yung binigay mo, di ba? Yung actual na
Yes.
binigay mo doon sa patient para inumin niya na hindi naman niya na-take lahat. So ngayon, mali na yung documentation.
Yeah. So now you have two errors, right? So now you have a medication error and now you have a documentation error. So yan yung kaya medyo laging magkasama yung ano na yun.
Oo, tama ka dyan.
Hand in hand. In fact, on the case of 𝗓𝙗𝗪, the one yung pinag-usapan yung sa Tennessee it was both. She gave the wrong medication and she documented incorrectly. So a lot of times, lagi magkasama yung dalawang yan. And from what we see as well in our own, within our, mga investigations namin within our cases that we have seen within our own organization, they tend to come together.
Mhm.
A lot of times if they commit some another error, usually may kasamang documentation error na.
Yeah. Well, hindi naman nila siguro aaminin na nagkamali sila doon, ano? So that's why,
A lot of
they
times
try to
in
correct
the
it.
in fact tinignan nila yan eh. There are common causes of, yung ano yung mga allegations against nurses, right? The most common allegation against the nurse really is that they have a failure to recognize or rescue the patient. Hindi nila may nangyayaring hindi maganda sa pasyente, they're not able to immediately provide the necessary rescue measures. Kumbaga, hindi nila,
Yeah.
so if they fail to do that, that's a big problem for the nurse, right? Isa pa dyan, yung pangalawang nakita is they fail to follow their own hospital policies or protocols. May sarili
Mhm.
silang mga written protocols. They have their own policy within their organization, yet yung
They
nurse
don't follow.
may not have followed it correctly according to the letter or the intent of their own policy. Um, and
Are there
then
a lot of cases like that na talagang they don't follow it or ang mga isolated lang 'yan?
unfortunately sometimes may mga certain cases kasi na ano na hindi rin clear yung policy. The policy may not be as clear, or maybe they have a different understanding of
Mhm.
it, and so they may think na okay, this is what is what they're asking me to do, in fact it's the other way around. So it could be that, right? They may,
Mhm.
or sometimes maybe they don't know na bago na yung policy. Maybe they practice for so long using a certain way, and then nabago na, or they don't understand na okay, maybe may actual policy and yet they practice a certain way. So isa yun, right?
Oo.
So maybe not
Meron
Minsan
na silang
really
sariling system, gano'n.
exactly, yeah.
oo,
And
Yes.
'yan ganyan din. Kunwari sa isang unit sasabihin, "Ito yung ginagawa namin, ito yung practice namin sa unit na 'to." Pero hindi siya, consistent sa policy ng ospital, so hindi puwedeng sabihin nung nurse na, "Ito yung practice namin." Kasi may policy na written tapos nag-deviate siya, hindi ano pa rin siya, hindi siya lulusot dun.
Mhm, yeah. Kasi siyempre 'di ba yung ibang ngang nurses lumilipat 'yan ng employment 'di ba, ng hospital or ng kung saan man. So siguro na-adapt na nila yung system, akala nila okey lang din yung practice na yun doon sa
exactly.
bago nilang employment. Yeah, so that's really very important talaga na alamin mo kung ano yung policy. Kahit naman saan din eh, there's always that policies and procedures in place. And they're existing because yun yung to save errors, from committing errors. And of course, in terms of sa hospital is to save life, Siyempre,
Yes.
a little error could cost a life of a person. Diba? Katulad ngayon nangyari kay Redonda. Um, Okay, so, batiin lang natin si Emmy Ligot galing sa Cavite. Sabi niya, "Hello, watching from Cavite, Philippines." Ayan. Ano kaya ang temperature natin sa Philippines ngayon? Siguro super, super hot na ngayon dahil summer na sa Philippines. At ayan, may tanong dito si Rusty Lopez. Ang sabi ni Rusty, "Is it advisable to have nurse malpractice insurance?" You wanna answer that, Herbert?
So there's two I'm sure maybe Rusty may have heard may mga nag-advise, right, that you should have your own malpractice insurance. However, many organizations they carry their own malpractice or malpractice insurance, right, within your organization. Covered ka ng organization mo, for example, ng facility mo that you work for. And so, in fact, in some cases, as long as again you're always practicing within the confines of your protocols, the policy established within your organization, then the malpractice insurance may not be as necessary. However, if you're in a situation where a lot of times maybe you're on your own, maybe you're working in a situation where I would say you're moving from one patient to another, maybe home health, or yung medyo you're independent or as in many cases. I would probably say that in that situation maybe a malpractice insurance is actually beneficial for you, right? Kasi wala kang guidance palagi
Mhm.
ng somebody that you could call and say, okay, is this what I'm supposed to do? Kasi sa hospital, medyo, if you're in a hospital, medyo, you have very strict protocols, you have policies, you have people that you can ask for help from, right? You can immediately, uh, you know, um, get help. In some cases, though, that's not possible, and in those cases, you may be putting your license at risk. And so, yes, maybe then it's advisable for you to carry a malpractice.
Ang tingin ko naman diyan, um, dito sa Texas, hindi masyadong
Yeah.
hahabulin ng nurses eh. Actually, ang tingin ko diyan 'pag kunwari
What do you mean hindi masyadong hahabulin ng
hindi hahabulin kasi hindi
nurses?
naman deep pocket defendant ang nurse, 'di ba? Ang hahabulin nila yung
Yes.
Yung employer,
Kaya ang ibig sabihin, 'pag yan ang naging standard, ngayon i-open nyo sa mga liabilities at suits ang mga nurses dahil alam ng mga ano ngayon, lawyers na they carry malpractice insurance. Now, we can sue them. So, yun ang tingin ko dyan.
Tama,
Na parang,
tama.
wag na lang.
Oo, siyempre, nagtatrabaho na nga sila ng ano, 'di ba, very delicate ang kanilang trabaho. Now, so, having said that, since natanong na rin naman yung, malpractice na 'yan, ano nga ba talaga nangyayari kapagka kayo nga, nag-commit ng error ang isang nurse? So, since I think we can talk about the process for any disciplinary action for nurses kapagka nagkaroon sila ng error or they made some mistakes. So I guess Herbert can talk about it, and
Yeah.
then Tina, will maybe add some more later.
So when the avoidable error does happen, unavoidable sometimes, right? Maybe does happen at nagkaroon nga ng error yung nurse. A lot of times an internal investigation will occur, a practice inquiry. So we're looking at the practice of the nurse as compared to the standards. So we'll compare, and that's part of my responsibility for my institution. We conduct the practice inquiry. So we will compare the action made by the nurse to the standards. So what's the expectation from them, and what was the action that they made? And so when that happens, after we make that determination, well, there's one of two things, right? Either we find out that okay, wala naman talagang ginawang mali yung nurse, then that's fine. Then that means they're off the hook. However, there are certain situations where if the error is grave enough, maybe there are certain items kasi na directly reportable to the board. If occur ng patient death, or may involvement ng, for example, may involvement ng fraud, may involvement ng chemical dependency, for example, those are at nagkaroon ka ng medication error, those are automatically reportable to the board. So that's one thing. The other part is we put them to a peer review process. So right, so if you made an error grave enough pero hindi pa namin ma-determine whether is this something that we should report to the board, we convene a peer review committee, and the peer review committee then makes those recommendations whether peer review investigation is conducted. Committee makes the determination of your peers, right? So these are nurses, and they make a decision whether yes, we think that this nurses is not safe to practice. They lack the knowledge, the skills, the conscientiousness to practice as a nurse, and if we let them practice, they'll continue to put patients at risk. Then that the nurse may be reported to the board. So that peer review will make that recommendation.
So this is administratively done, right? This is an
That
administrative
is correct.
process.
Yeah. So there are certain timelines, right, from the time that the error was committed, when it was reported, when the investigation happens, and then the peer review is initiated, convened, and then the peer review makes the recommendation. So there are very tight guidelines in an administrative way. Yes.
Okay, so hindi naman agad-agad na sasampahan sila ng criminal case, dadaan muna sila sa
Na-
administrative process.
No, yeah. Typically, in criminal cases outside, yeah, this is all administrative at this point. Really,
It could be simultaneous na
it
nangyayari?
it it it's possible, right? It could be possible. It may be possible. Maybe a very 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 rare case, right?
I see.
But it's
It's possible.
not
Yeah.
not likely, but possible. Yes.
I see. Attorney Tina, anything you want to add to that?
So, pag yung complaint, yung charges, dinala sa Board of Nursing, ang nangyayari dyan, so may investigation din ng Board of Nursing.
Okay.
Tapos susulat sila dun sa nurse, hihingi ng paliwanag sa nurse. And then, yung nurse, pag sumagot na yung nurse, magkakaroon ng settlement, informal settlement yan. So, usually, ang nangyayari, sasagot ka dun sa notice ng board. After nyan, merong ipapadala na proposed order ang Texas Board of Nursing. Doon, usually pag documentation error, medication error na mga minor lang, may mga grades kasi yan eh. May level ng offenses ng yung parang kung ano yung na-commit mo.
Meron
So,
ka, counterpart na penalty.
Tapos may counterpart sila na punishments.
Punishments.
Parang ganun, or kung anong tawag doon.
So sa board of directors, pagka ganun ba, Attorney Tina, they need an attorney to represent them, or can they do it on their own?
Usually, I think, well, of course, because we're lawyers.
I think you're doing it, so that's why I ask.
Ang
Yes.
tingin ko pag nurses, so natatakot sila, di ba? Tapos
Siyempre,
emotional
oo.
yan, hindi nila alam kung paano i-navigate talaga yung process. Usually, pag sumagot sila, kasi yung mga clients ko na iba, nakikita ko, sumagot na sila. So pagdating sa'yo, tapos pag minsan na sumagot sila late, or pag nakita mo yung sagot nila, nag-admit na sila ng hindi dapat i-admit.
Very careful. Oo.
Oo. Parang hindi naman mali. Kumbaga, yung concept nila ng admission or yung kung ano yung committed act nila, naisip nila, ito siya. Pero usually hindi naman. So minsan nagiging mas grabe pag sila yung sumagot. So,
hindi kasi sila nakakapag-isip ng tama, syempre.
Oo. At saka,
medyo natataranta na sila yung
tsaka, kahit na administrative yung Texas Board of Nursing, yung mga words niya, legal pa din siya, di ba?
Yeah.
Legal words pa rin yan.
That's right.
And in fact,
So, ang tingin ko, kailangan kumuha ka ng lawyer para mas maintindihan ng lawyer kung paano yung pagsagot. Tsaka, hindi disconnected yung lawyer sa emotion mo.
So mas nakakapag-isip ng tama. Yes.
And again, syempre, alam ng lawyer kung paano yung evidence, mga ganun ba?
Of course. Yes. Herbert, you're saying?
Yeah, I was gonna say, in fact, even during the peer review process, if the nurse finds out na they're going to undergo a peer review investigation, they are already allowed. In fact, it's advisable in many cases to hire a lawyer from that point, so that they can have somebody else help them prepare their statements, help them review the records that will be presented to them for review. Kasi ibibigay naman sa iyo lahat yung mga gagamitin during the investigation, right? They'll present it to you. So, in many cases there, lalo na kung hindi ka familiar, katulad sa mga, you're a bagong nurse ka dito, right? Coming from the Philippines maybe, and you're a new nurse here, you don't really understand the process. Maybe it's best, once you find out that, na unfortunately, you are going to undergo a peer review investigation, to go ahead and hire yourself a lawyer so that they can help you navigate through the process and make it maybe easier for you. Kasi kung mag-isa ka lang, sometimes it's really challenging.
That is right. Kasi syempre, if the attorney is practicing that kind of law, ay alam ng attorney ang gagawin at mabibigyan ka ng tamang payo, ng tamang options. Kasi at that time, kapag ikaw nga naman ang nagkamali, syempre medyo marami ka nang iniisip, na-stress ka na. So talagang mas maganda na lumapit ka, humingi ka ng tulong sa taong alam mong makakatulong sa'yo, yung taong nakakaalam ng proseso. Ayan. So, wow, ang dami ko natutunan, ha? Hindi man ako nurse.
pala ako, ha?
Ayan, meron pa. Sige.
Oo. So, kasi usually, magbibigay sila ng proposed order ang Texas Board of Nursing. Kung ikaw lang, pipirmahan mo na yan. kung hindi naman siya, usually pag nurses, pirma na nila
Madali
yun.
lang ano, no?
Oo.
Yes.
Pero katulad yung
Na-convince.
isang case na na-handle ko, yung binigay na proposed order, ang mangyayari pala nito, dahil nagtatrabaho siya sa home health, yung client ko, hindi na siya makakapagtrabaho sa home health kasi nakalagay doon kailangan sa ospital. So, kung pinirmahan niya yun, edi isang taon or dalawang taon siya na hindi pwede magtrabaho sa home health. Ayaw naman na niya sa ospital. So, ang ginawa namin dyan, ayun, so, ang mangyayari, dahil di nag-agree, magkakaroon ngayon ng formal settlement. Sasampahan na siya ngayon ng complaint, ng formal charge. So, nung una, investigation pa lang.
Yes.
Nung hindi nag-agree sa proposed order ng Board of Nursing, ngayon, sasampahan na siya ng formal complaint. Pagka dating ng formal complaint, pwede kayo mag-request ng mediation. Or ng, may informal, ano pa yan eh, pwedeng informal inquiry, informal request, ganyan. Pero, pwedeng, after that, mediation na. So, sa mediation, usually, nasa-settle na nila yan. So, yung sa client ko, naging exception yon. So, pwede siyang mag-work sa home health.
I see.
Kung hindi naman ma-settle sa mediation, ang mangyayari niyan, doon na sa mas mataas. Ngayon, parang mag-hearing na kayo.
Oo. So, kadalasan ba umabot sa hearing or katulad nga nabanggit mo kanina, no, kadalasan ay nasa-settle during mediation. Yan. So, syempre, both parties, sino ba naman ang gustong mas maging complicated, mas mahaba yung process, mas magastos, di ba? So, it's already 9:56. Ang dami-dami ko pang gustong itanong. Siguro next time na lang pagka pagbalik ninyo, ano? So, siguro, I know na maraming siguro kung meron silang mga gustong itanong sa inyo, saan kaya na sila pwedeng kumontak sa iyo? Unahin natin si Herbert. If ever meron silang gustong itanong kay Herbert regarding the process, saan kanila pwedeng makontak?
Kailangan i-send ng email. Ang email ko is herbert.ortiz@gmail.com.
Ayan. So, yan, herbert.ortiz@gmail.com. At sasagutin naman yan ni Herbert. Diba?
Try your best.
Yes. And of course, kay Attorney Tina naman, kung meron kayong meron silang gustong itanong sa iyo, Attorney Tina, saan ka naman nila pwedeng kontakin?
They can email me at mcm@atendido.lawyer.
Ayan, okay. At kung meron naman kayong katanungan sa akin tungkol sa episode na ito, at kung ano man ang pwede kong maitulong sa inyo, dito nyo naman ako pwedeng makontak. This is our phone number, 713-936-2889, or you can visit our website, 𝐓𝐈𝐍𝐾t.com. Ayan. So, I just wanna know na lang, my last question na lang is, ano yung gusto nyong iwanan na payo or message sa ating mga nurses na gustong pumunta dito o nandirito na nagtatrabaho at saka sa ating mga audience and listeners. So, unahin natin si Herbert.
Siguro sa akin, we want to make sure that they're aware of their rights. Dapat alam nila yon. No? I really understand kung ano yung kailangan nilang gawin din, yung expectations from them. One of the things that they really should be doing is to keep themselves really up to date. Hindi lang yung nag-aral ka na ng nursing, so I think you've learned enough. So you continue your learning, continue taking, continuing nursing education, be a part of a nursing organization. Philippine Nurses Association here in America is a good organization to join. Yung mga ganun kasi they can provide you with support so that you continue to advance in your career to really, I think to protect yourself. Dapat up to date ka eh. Hindi pwedeng pabayaan mo yung sarili mo na hindi ka nag-aaral, hindi mo inaalam kung ano yung kailangan mong gawin.
Ayan, maraming salamat for that very inspiring and important insights, Herbert. And how about you, Attorney Tina? Any last words to our viewers, listeners, and audience today? And our nurses as well.
Well, sa akin lang, I guess yung love your profession, yan. I guess
love,
yun.
Love
your profession. I think magfo-flow na doon lahat ng yung pagiging responsible mo, yung gusto mong mag-aral ng mas marami para mas makatulong ka sa mga patients.
Ayan, very, very nice message. Love your profession. So we have to love our profession, Attorney Tina. And of course, Herbert. At saka syempre sa lahat ng mga professionals na nanonood sa atin ngayon, we have a lot of professionals here in the US. Nurses, teachers, doctors, attorneys, engineers, at maraming pa. So, kaya maraming salamat, Attorney
Thank you.
Tina, Herbert, sa time and sa insights na naibigay niyo sa amin, sa information, napakahalagang information na naibigay niyo sa amin. I know na at some point ay magagamit namin itong knowledge na na-impart niyo sa amin. And sa lahat ng mga nanood at nakinig sa amin ngayon, maraming salamat. I wanna say thank you din sa Roof Chamber Radio Pinoy, of course, at kahit hindi namin nakasama dito ang ating president ng Roof Chamber Media, and of course technical support natin na si Fenji. Maraming salamat, at of course we're continuing to pray for you na sana ay tuluyan ka nang makarecover at masamahan mo kami ulit dito sa Usapang Off the Record. At maraming salamat, Attorney Tina, Herbert, sa lahat ng manonood. I'll see you all. Yes, sa lahat. I'll see you all next week sa isa na namang Usapang Off the Record. This is Eileen. Have a great weekend, everyone. Make it worth it. Ayan. Thank you, Tina. Thank you, Herbert.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good one.